Junior Dos Santos versus Ciyrl Gane. We got minus 410 on Ciyrl Gane and plus 330 on the veteran Junior Dos Santos. So let's start off with Sagano here, who's coming off three straight losses now, all of them via finish. Francis Ngannou, Curtis Blades, and then Jairzinho Rosenstrike. The last two of them coming in the second round. It's tough to watch Junior Dos Santos go out there and continuously get knocked out, but you can't really blame him for the Francis Ngannou knockout. The Curtis Blades one was very interesting because we saw Blades use his striking a little bit more, threaten with the takedowns, and then obviously in that second round, really kind of throw off JDS in terms of being able to get that finish, beautiful finish on his end there. And then Jairzinho, played it really safe in that first round, possibly even gave that up to JDS, but in that second round, we saw him start to throw a little bit more. And it seems like almost every single Junior Dos Santos finish where he gets knocked out ends with him up against the cage, and it feels like he just doesn't really have the best feel of like being able to get out of that like behind the warning track. He just doesn't know what to do when he gets to that point. There are times where you see him kind of feel it, and then he just like pivots off and does what he needs to. But most of his finishes come in that position, and it's very concerning for sure. It's finishes that have happened even earlier in his career. Stipe Miocic, Alistair Overeem, Cain Velasquez. When he gets finished, it's not nice. And it's like when you're watching him and he's throwing out, like when you're watching him in that first round of the Rosenstrike fight, you see, okay, maybe he still has a little bit of pep in his step. The guy is 36 years old, in heavyweight, that's still somewhat in your prime, if you want to call it that. But JDS is obviously far removed from that compared to when he, did win the title. I believe it was way back in 2011. Goddamn, can't believe it's already been 9 years since we saw him get that strap. But his boxing looks good, his movement looks decent, but it's just these young up and coming guys that are just kind of tearing him down. And he's getting another beast here. One thing you got to give to JDS is his ability to just take name after name after name and kind of put them through the ringer and see if they're actually worthy of fighting for a title or anything like that. So Ciryl Gane is the next one up here, and I feel like he's probably one of the harder opponents that he's faced up to date just due to his athleticism. I like to kind of compare Gane and Ngannou to a certain extent, where he does have a lot of power. He's a big dude, but he just moves a lot better. I think he has the best movement in the heavyweight division in terms of being so agile and quick and devastating with the strikes. Now we've seen a bit of an improvement from Ciryl Gane's game, where he's just matured from a first round finisher to kind of just feeling things out. In his last two fights, we saw him go all the way to the third round against Dante Almeida, and then in the Tanner Boser fight, we saw him go out there and just win a decision victory. I believe it was that Adam Dishka fight that probably changed it around for him. Obviously, the Roger Souza fight was kind of easy for him to get. That was his last fight before the UFC. But the Dishka fight, we saw him really go balls to the walls in that first round and a half or so, and possibly look a little bit, like he was sucking a little bit of wind. Luckily for him, he was able to put away Dishka in that, 3 seconds left in that second round. And since then, we've seen a little bit more of a measured approach from him. He's not really going out there and just throwing it all in that first round and then potentially getting caught in the second and thirds. Here, now it's just he has that karate stance, very light on his toes, moves forward in and out pretty well. And even when he's moving backwards to kind of evade the strikes that are coming his way, he does a really good job of kind of hiding his chin just behind his shoulder when he's standing sideways. Obviously, he's going to have to worry about the punches that are coming this way, but he does a good job of keeping his hands up as well to kind of protect the chin there. I don't really know what JDS really has to offer here in terms of opposition. I really think the only thing that JDS can do here to win is knock out Gane, but I don't think he has the power to, nor have we really seen chin issues on Gane's end. He's only had 6 pro fights. So that's something that people need to keep in mind. So he's still a bit of a work in progress, but everything that we've been seeing from a fight to fight basis is him just growing and getting better. And Tanner Boser is a guy that I'm kind of high on in the heavyweight division. Unfortunately for Boser, Ciryl Gane is kind of like a carbon copy of him, but just much more athletic, much quicker, much faster, and hits a lot harder. And we definitely saw the difference in that fight against Boser there. Now with JDS, he's going to have to worry about the strikes that are coming back his way from JDS, but I feel like Gane will have the speed advantage. He'll be able to get in and out of the range, land the strikes that he needs to, land a couple leg kicks here and there. And that's where the question comes. Now, you're not going to want to play him at minus 400 straight or minus 410 straight. Maybe he's a good parlay piece at that price. But the question is it inside the distance or is it via decision? And I'm kind of leaning more so to the decision side, as I feel like he doesn't really want to overextend himself too much here against JDS. I still believe, like, even though JDS has gotten finished in his last couple fights, I still kind of believe in his chin. You know what I mean? He ate some big shots from Ivanov. He ate some big shots from Tuivasa. He even ate a couple big shots from Derek Lewis. But Francis Ngannou, we obviously know he just absolutely separates himself in terms of power. The guy will put out anybody. The Curtis Blades one, that one was very well set up because it was, the threat of the takedown really kind of threw off Junior Dos Santos, and Blades just lands a beautiful shot to put him out there, a beautiful knee, and then eventually, following up with punches. And then the Rosenstrike fight just landed clean. Rosenstrike hits really, really hard too. That's another guy. But Gane, again, I'm not sure if he really puts the most into his punches at this point. He seems to really be content with going out there, chipping away at his opponents, and then kind of taking advantage of bad situations. Now, if he's smart enough, or if his coaches actually see it, they can see that JDS really does struggle when he's behind the warning track and when he does get up against the cage. Unfortunately for Junior, this is once again happening in the apex, which means that they're going to have a smaller cage, which means that his back will touch the cage a lot sooner than a normal cage. So that's something that he's going to have to worry about. I'm not 100% sure yet, though. I still feel like Gane will play it as safe as possible, just pick him apart from the outside. But if the finish does present itself, it could potentially be there. That's what has me a little bit. That's what has me concerned here in terms of whether Gane will be able to get that finish or not. Whether he'll expose himself enough and put himself out there enough to potentially get countered from JDS, or if he's just okay to just sit out there on the outside and pick him apart. So I'm gonna go with Gane via decision. I think that's the way he goes about it. I think he doesn't play too hard with Junior. Like, Junior is still able of cracking and landing on dudes. He was landing some good shots on Rosenstrike, and there was a little bit of speed behind it too that definitely caught Rosenstrike off guard. So Gane's gonna have to be careful. So I'm gonna take Gane to win this via decision. I think he just plays it safe, sits on the outside, lands his couple shots, gets out of the way. But yeah, this will be his first legitimate win in the UFC. Not legitimate, because the Bozer win was a big one, but over a named opponent, albeit Junior Dos Santos coming off of 3 straight KO losses. I still think that this is a good win for Gane if he's able to secure it. So once again, I'll go with Ciyrl Gane to win this fight via decision by just picking apart Junior Dos Santos from the outside and capturing that decision victory.